Imagine working for 40 years, waking up early, grinding, paying taxes, raising a family, and at the end of it all, you realize you can't afford to stop working, not because you were reckless, not because you were lazy, but because the math was never in your favor. Right now, millions of Americans are heading straight toward that reality, and most of them don't even know it. Today, we're breaking down the real numbers behind retirement in America, and what they actually mean for your future. I spent the last 2 weeks digging into Federal Reserve data, Social Security reports, and retirement research from the largest financial institutions in the United States. What I found is not what financial advisors usually present in polished seminars. It's more uncomfortable. It's more honest. And it's something every working American needs to understand. Let's talk about retirement in America, the real version. According to the Federal Reserve's most comprehensive wealth survey, Americans between 65 and 74, people who are already retired, have a median retirement savings of about $200,000. Median means half have more, half have less. Now pause for a second. 40 years of working, and half of retirees have under $200,000 to fund what could be 25 to 30 years without employment income. But the median doesn't tell the full story. When we look deeper, 1/3 of retirees have less than $100,000 saved. Another chunk sits between $100,000 and $200,000. A large portion of the higher balances are concentrated among top earners. And then there's something even more alarming. Roughly 27% of Americans have zero retirement savings. Not small savings, not behind, zero. That means more than 1 in 4 adults are approaching old age without a financial safety net. This is not a fringe issue. This is mainstream America. What $200,000 actually means in real life. Let's translate theory into reality. There's a common guideline in retirement planning called the 4% rule. The idea: withdraw 4% of your portfolio annually to make it last roughly 30 years. 4% of $200,000 equals $8,000 per year. That's about $667 per month. Now let's add Social Security. The average monthly benefit today sits around $1,976. So if you're the median retiree, $1,976, Social Security. $667, savings withdrawal, equal to $2,643 per month. That's your total income, $2,643 per month. Let's break that down in 2026 America. Housing, even modest housing, can easily cost $1,500 monthly when you factor in property taxes, insurance, and upkeep, remaining $1,143, utilities and communication, $250, remaining $893, groceries, $400, remaining $493, healthcare out of pocket beyond Medicare, at least $300, remaining $193, and that's before car insurance, gas, unexpected repairs, clothing, gifts, travel, helping grandchildren, anything resembling leisure. That's tight, very tight. And that's assuming nothing goes wrong. But life always does. How did we get here? This didn't happen overnight. It was built over decades. In 1980, about 38% of private sector workers had pensions. Employers managed investments. They guaranteed lifetime income. They carried the risk. Today, less than 15% of private sector workers have pensions. They've been replaced by 401(k)s, which shifted responsibility entirely onto workers. The 401(k) was never meant to be the primary retirement engine. It was designed as a supplemental savings tool. But companies saw cost savings. Pensions disappeared. And suddenly, average workers were expected to enroll properly, contribute enough, increase contributions, choose investments, rebalance portfolios, resist panic selling, avoid early withdrawals, all while paying rent, raising kids, and surviving rising living costs. Retirement security went from employer-managed benefit to DIY financial engineering project. And most people were never trained for that. The wage problem no one wants to talk about. Inflation-adjusted wages for middle-income Americans have been relatively stagnant for decades. Meanwhile, housing costs have soared, healthcare costs have surged, education expenses have exploded, childcare has become overwhelming. So when financial experts casually say, just save 15% of your income, many families hear, with what money? When you're already stretched thin, retirement contributions feel like a luxury. And for millions, they are. The hidden wealth destroyers. Let's talk about two silent killers of long-term wealth. 1. Student loans. Average balances hover around $40,000. Many borrowers pay into their 40s and 50s. Every year spent paying interest is a year not investing. But here's the bigger loss: time. Compound growth needs decades. If you start saving seriously at 45 instead of 25, you're not just 20 years late, you've lost exponential growth. That gap is enormous. 2. Credit card interest. Average credit card rates exceed 20%. If you're paying $150 monthly in interest, that's money evaporating. Invested instead at 8% for 30 years? That same $150 monthly could grow into hundreds of thousands of dollars. Interest works for you, or against you. And most Americans are on the wrong side of that equation. The power of starting early. If you're in your 20s or early 30s, you have something incredibly powerful. Time. Let's say you invest $300 per month, starting at 25, earning a modest 8% annually. By 65, that grows into roughly $1.5 million. Increase it to maxing out a Roth IRA annually, the difference becomes life-changing. The earlier you begin, the less you need to contribute later. Compound growth rewards time more than intensity. For those in their 40s and 50s, if you're mid-career, it's not too late. But urgency increases. You likely need to save 15 to 20% of income if possible. That may require lifestyle adjustments, aggressive budgeting, eliminating high-interest debt, prioritizing tax-advantaged accounts. It's uncomfortable, but ignoring it is worse. If you're behind in your 50s or 60s, this is where conversations get real. If you're significantly underprepared, there are limited options, but there are options. 1. Delay retirement. Each year you work, adds savings, allows investments to grow, increases Social Security benefits. Waiting until 70 instead of 62 can dramatically boost monthly payments. That difference compounds over decades. 2. Reduce future expenses. Downsize earlier. Relocate to lower-cost regions. Eliminate debt before retirement. Lower fixed expenses create breathing room. 3. Invest properly. Many workers mistakenly leave retirement funds in ultra-conservative options. If you're years away from retirement, growth matters. Over long horizons, diversified stock exposure has historically outpaced inflation. Avoiding volatility entirely often guarantees falling behind. The reality you can't ignore. Retirement is not optional. Your body will eventually slow down. The job market will eventually change. Something will end your working years. The only question is whether you'll be ready when it happens. Relying solely on Social Security is financially fragile. Depending on family is uncertain. Entering old age without preparation isn't just stressful, it's risky. This isn't fear-mongering. It's math. And math doesn't negotiate. What this means for you. Whether you're 25 or 55, your decisions today directly shape your future freedom. Retirement isn't about luxury yachts or beachfront condos. It's about dignity. It's about independence. It's about not having to work when your health says you can't. You don't need perfection. You need consistency. Small, repeated financial discipline beats late panic every time. If this conversation shifted how you think about your financial future, take one small action today. Open your retirement account. Check your balance. Increase your contribution by even 1%. Because future you is depending on present you. If you found value in this breakdown, Hit the like button. It helps this information reach more people who need it. Share this with someone who avoids talking about retirement. And subscribe to MMT Community. We're going to keep having the conversations about money most people avoid, but everyone needs. Your future is being built, whether you pay attention or not. You might as well build it intentionally. Thanks for watching.